Matthew, sats are on sale. One cuckbuck's going to get you 1,219 sats.
I got to say, with everything going on, Bitcoin at $82,000, I mean, I'm probably fucking jinxing it, but feels pretty strong. Feels pretty strong.
It feels very strong. I am loving this. Are we tariff experts yet? I noticed that we have Trump tariffs.
Are we having fun yet? Yes, we are. We are a tariff expert show now.
So thank you for joining us. We're going to tell you the ramifications of Liberation Day and the tariffs, the reinvigoration of the American economy.
Did you see the title I picked?
Yeah. Trump tariffs the world.
It's because we're a tariff podcast.
What a week. What a time to be alive.
I was so tired that the original working title was Trump tariffs Bitcoin, which was not that he tariffs Bitcoin. I mean, I don't think you can tariff Bitcoin. You could tariff Bitcoin miners, hardware. But it was just like lazy, just keywords. I was just like I just threw keywords in the title. And I was like, okay, I'll make it a proper title.
You got to pump the algo.
Well, that's why I thought the algo would like those three words: Trump tariffs Bitcoin.
Yeah. Bitcoin miners coming straight from China have been tariffed for many years now. But Bitmain and MicroBTs, like, they have distribution centers in Malaysia, Thailand, and I believe maybe Taiwan as well. Maybe not Taiwan, but some other country.
Oh, Zapstream's working.
Were you worried it wasn't going to?
Dude, this is the second time in a row that for Citadel Dispatch, Zapstream didn't work. And
your conversation with Lisa
did. Yeah, I think. Do you think Kieran turns it off for Dispatch and then turns it back on for RHR just to troll me?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Is this main character syndrome? I mean, it hurts because the whole point of Dispatch is it has the live chat in the view. And to those who have been listening, I'm kind of a Nostr bull, so it really hurts when I have to put the YouTube chat in the stream. But the last two episodes, I've had to do that.
Hey, you got to make do. Growing pains. Kieran.
I'm not sure if Zaps are working. It looks like Zaps might not be working. Can someone test them out?
Yeah, somebody send us.
But rhr.tv/stream is the Nostr live chat. And Zaps are working. We got 21 sats from Brett. He got a cheap shout out because he tested it out for us.
Hey, we asked, he delivered. Brett gets a shout out. Thank you, Brett. Have you been paying attention to the tariff stuff at all?
Have I been paying attention to my family's so poor?
Your 401ks cratering?
I think it's impossible not to. Is there anyone under a rock that doesn't know that's going on right now? We do not have a 401k. We just have a stack of sats. But it was like yesterday was like a good old fashioned Bitcoin day in terms of like you wake up in the morning, you're feeling good, price is running. You're like, why is prices running? Oh, it's just a random headline saying Elon's not going to be a part of the government for much longer. And then Trump just comes out. He's like, you know what? We're going to just tariff the 185 countries just right back down.
We'll jump into it. Let's go to Clark's dashboard, get a state of the network. You said 82,000. That is right on the dot. According to Clark's dashboard, we are sitting at $82,000 Bitcoin. One cuckbuck is going to get you 1,220 sats. At that price, we're at block height 890,735, which means we are 337 blocks away from the next difficulty retarget. And despite the price ranging in the 80,000 range, going lower in that range, we are looking at another upwards adjustment of 3.5% on Saturday. We are looking at 11,684 transactions in Clark's mempool. If we go over to mempool.space, things are looking relatively full compared to the other day when they were empty. 3 sats per VByte across the board.
Dude, people losing their fucking mind on mempools clearing. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, you were out there saying they were never going to clear again. You set expectations very high, and people are reacting. Matt told me
but
that mempools were never going to clear again, and they're clearing pretty consistently.
I just, I, this is not my fault, Marty. I mean, I think it's just funny that people, I mean, who knows, who knows how long it's going to take. But at some point in the near future, everyone's going to be complaining that fees are too high and that we have a scaling problem and that Bitcoin will never scale, which I still think is, for most Bitcoin holders, should be the frame of reference. You should just be grateful when you can pay low fees.
Yeah. And the
Like, this is a
whole,
good thing. I mean, do we wish more people were like transacting in Bitcoin and spending Bitcoin? Sure. There could always be more adoption, but in general, I have very little alarm. I have no alarm whatsoever on Bitcoin transaction volume not filling up blocks right now.
I think this may be the RHR eternal September problem. Mempools. Are they too empty? Are they too full?
It's definitely one of, I mean, there's a couple, right? There's that, there's death spirals, mining death spirals.
That one sort of died out. The mempools are eternal.
What do you mean?
The death spiral, like last halving, there was really
No,
no
it just,
limit.
well, this one was weird, right? Because we had the ETFs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a separate eternal September argument of, are cycles done or the cycle's going to continue? But presumably at some point in the future, there will be a bunch of FUD. And this time it will be like analysts at BlackRock or some shit that are talking about mining death spiral. Like, it'll be a different group of people.
Yeah, and let them have that. Maybe Ari Paul will get hired at BlackRock, and he can spread the mining death spiral FUD from
Quantum, Eternal September. What other Eternal September ones do we have? Yeah, fees too high, fees too low.
lack of privacy.
Privacy is a constant one. Lightning is a newer one just because Lightning's new. But since Lightning's been launched, it's either, oh yeah, it's just like Lightning has failed. It's just a constant one.
People aren't spending Bitcoin, so therefore it cannot be a currency. It's also tiresome. And that was the big one this week. Start using Bitcoin. The network's dying. It's like, no, just think about your own stack. I've sent a couple Bitcoin transactions this week. We pay people in Bitcoin from TFTC, but it's like only when we need to.
The argument that, and maybe it's true because most people are just lame as fuck, but the argument that people aren't spending Bitcoin because of cap gains tax just seems so sad to me. It's just like, guys, just understand the basics here. Cap gains tax is really a tax on savings, and it should be removed. Like, it's the most predatory bullshit ever. Like, cap gains should just not exist on any asset, let alone Bitcoin. But you only pay it if you profit. So this idea that like, oh, I want to hold dollars still so I can spend that instead of making profit by holding Bitcoin and then spending that is retarded. Like, I understand there's a mental burden attached to it. You have an Excel spreadsheet. If I can put it together, if I can do the thing. But like, we've talked for years about, oh, is the government going to attack Bitcoin this way, that way, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, the government puts a 20% tax on gains that you have in Bitcoin, and that's just going to stop people from spending it.
Yeah.
Pretty lame.
Go listen to the latest episode I did on TFTC with Parker. It's not the latest episode of TFTC, the latest one with Parker. We go over this, and inspired by Jack Mahler's, the way he described and putting that exact argument forth is like, you're making money. Like, in the example that Parker used is, imagine a $10,000 Bitcoin, you had $10,000 of cash that you wanted to put it in the savings, so you put it into Bitcoin. And you ran two scenarios. You put it in Bitcoin or you hold it in cash, and then 4 years down the line, Bitcoin's at 80,000, and you have to pay $6,000 for a new carburetor on your car. If you save in cash, your end result is $4,000. If you save in Bitcoin, you have a whole Bitcoin that's worth $80,000 now. You pay $6,000.
It's like the easiest math ever, and Marty almost fucked it up.
and you pay like a $1,200 in tax on that. You still have way more savings than you would in the beginning of that scenario.
Hey, just go all in on Bitcoin, man.
Yeah.
And then just spend it as you need it.
It's also tiresome. But
Josh came in with another Eternal September mining centralization. That was something I talked about on the show with Nifty.
That's a big topic of Bitcoin Plus Plus here in Austin next month.
Yeah, and the first annual Texas Energy and Mining Summit.
Hell yeah.
Bitcoin Park, Austin.
Big week in Austin, Texas, May 6th. If you can make it out, get here. Nifty, I owe you a response. Maybe doing some live desk action at Bitcoin Plus Plus while it's in town. So beware. I'll be there.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Should we talk? Do you want to talk tariffs? I've got some thoughts. I wrote a newsletter about it.
Well, before we talk tariffs, I know this is out of order, but Logan, can you just pull up the Bitcoin versus gold chart that I put in the list? Guys, we're just fucking decimating gold. Like, we've absolutely destroyed gold just because they've had a little bit of a dead cat pounce in the last month or two.
What are the two lines?
This is how much gold you get for a Bitcoin.
Okay. Is it just different rolling averages?
Logan, can you see what the two lines are?
It's yellow is Bitcoin price in ounces of gold, and gray is in grams of gold.
Oh, okay.
And I guess one side is grams and one side is ounces. It's the same line. Why do they put two lines on it?
Yeah. And I saw many people have been on Twitter like, look, gold's shining right now. It's up 17% year to date. Bitcoin's down 20% year to date. It's like, yeah, sick cherry picked time frame there. If you go back to November 4th, 2024, Bitcoin's up 20% over that period. Gold's up. Maybe
that was the election, right? But
yeah.
Even the election, we were at like 65K, right?
Yeah.
And now we're at 82.
The memories, the amnesia that people have. We're crashing to $82,000. We weren't even there 4 months ago.
I felt a little bit guilty because I think it was like 2 weeks ago or whatever. I did but what if we're wrong? They're just remonetizing gold, and gold is everything. We were right about everything except it was gold and not Bitcoin. But I was being mostly facetious. We're crushing gold. Don't sell your sats for gold. And if you do, take self-custody of it, and your wife's going to fucking kill you because you're just going to have a bunch of gold in your house.
It's very heavy. On that note, though, I think gold, bringing this back to tariffs, this is the newsletter I wrote last night that came out this morning. I do think it is interesting what is happening in gold markets, particularly the amount of physical gold that is being called to vaults in New York. And so this is a chart here. And as you can see, the amount of gold that is being called from COMEX to vaults in New York City is at an all-time high on this chart going back to 2000. It's already 16.5% more gold has been called to these vaults.
So these are all US based, HSBC, Brinks, and JP.
I believe so. Yes, to their vaults in New York City.
It's so much more than it was before.
Well, that's the whole point. And so, like, we'll give the gold bugs, we'll give the gold bugs their, we'll give them their day in the light here. I do think, bringing it back to tariffs, I think tariffs, it's hilarious that everybody's throwing their hands up in the air and complaining.
Wait, before you get there, you just brought this chart up. Isn't this but this is custodial still?
Yes. But it's not, it's people calling in kind. You can call CME futures contracts in kind, and a lot of this activity is that happening where people are demanding.
But where does CME keep their gold?
They have an agreement with COMEX to deliver it to these vaults, I believe. physically.
But where are they keeping it before they deliver it to the vaults? These vaults.
I think they just have agreements. Like if somebody calls the paper, I get it.
Are
from
they
you.
just shipping it from a different vault in America to a different vault in America?
No, a lot of this activity in the beginning of the year was from England, the Bank of England.
But isn't CME based in Chicago?
It's all intertwined. You have the LMBA, or the LBMA, the London Bullion, whatever MA stands for.
Are we gold experts?
We are.
In Bitcoin terms, is this chart, basically what I'm asking is, in Bitcoin terms, is this chart like transfers between Kraken and Coinbase? Kind of, right?
No, this would be akin to like transfers between IBIT to Fidelity Spot.
Yeah, but IBIT just stores their Bitcoin at Coinbase.
Exactly.
And Fidelity holds their Bitcoin themselves, but both are based in America. So that actually is a good analogy.
Yeah. But bringing it back, so like
Sorry.
everybody's focused on tariffs. It's hilarious that everybody's complaining and kvetching. It's like he literally ran. He told us in June of last year, my favorite word is tariff. President Donald Trump said, my favorite word is tariff. It's going to be your favorite word soon. Literally campaigned on, we're going to tariff the rest of the world, and following through with that promise now. And I do think there's I've learned a lot about totally gold experts, us. Replace gold with tariffs now. I've learned a lot about tariffs in the sense that I didn't realize how much the U.S. was being tariffed by other countries. And so personally...
Wait, but isn't there... like, didn't he not calculate it based on how much we're
That's
getting
what people
tariffed?
are saying. Like, I don't know. And frankly,
he did
I don't
like
care.
the trade deficit and then divided by 2 or something.
That's
and then
what people
divided that by 2 was what we tariffed them.
That's what people are saying. I cannot confirm whether that data
The
is
math
accurate.
seemed to line up.
It did, but I don't care about that point.
Okay,
at all. I think tariffs are a distraction and just a near term sort of move on the chessboard to set up for something bigger. And going back to that gold chart, Logan, like I think that's where the signal is, and it really ties into not only what Trump was saying before he came into office, but Logan, if you get out of this picture and go down to the tweet in the article, Scott Bessent has been on before he was even floated as Treasury Secretary, and before I believe he was officially advising President Trump. He was going on a media tour talking about what he expects to happen over the next 4 years. And so I think this clip is pretty illuminating. I believe this was recorded in June of last year.
I think as an economic historian and someone who's been in markets for 40 years, I actually think I'm starting to look like it now. I think we're also at a unique moment geopolitically, and I could see in the next few years that we are going to have some kind of a grand global economic reordering. It was something on the equivalent of a new Bretton Woods, or if you want to go back, like something back to the Steel Agreements or the Treaty of Versailles. There's a very good chance that we are going to have to have that over the next 4 years, and I'd like to be a part of it. I've studied this. I think it's kind of a unique skill set. I think.
Yeah, and so this is where I think the signal is. Everybody's up in air about the tariffs right now, but I think they're but a small, minute detail. Basically, a settling of the negotiation table. I think he's coming in strong with tariffs now, marking them as reciprocal. Who knows if they're exactly reciprocal or if they just did lazy math.
They're probably directionally reciprocal.
Yeah. Directionally reciprocal is probably the right term. But I think, again, minute detail. Essentially, it's just like a level setting of the negotiation table for this grand economic reordering that may be on the table, where
Some kind of like great reset.
Potentially. Great reset of the monetary order. But the tariffs are simply like Trump saying, like, we're not fucking around. Like, who cares what the number is? Like, directionally reciprocal. But we mean business. we are not going to get pushed around. Like, we will use the power of tariffs to basically show you that we mean business. And I think the gold movements, coupled with what Scott Bessent has said in the past, signal to me at least that there may be something bigger at play. And
so what do you think is at play? Are we going to switch to a gold standard?
I don't know. That's basically what I said in the newsletter. Is like, I don't know exactly how this turns out, but if you look at the gold movements, you look at what Scott Bessent has said, you look at their willingness to let the stock market fall too, and it's not even fallen that much. People crying about the stock market are fucking pansies.
There's a lot of red out there.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, price to earning ratios are at levels not seen since the .com bubble. It's like,
who can handle that?
Yeah. I don't know. I think everybody focus on the tariffs. The whole point of the spiel is, I think the signal is outside of tariffs, and they're just a small part of a bigger.
But what is the signal?
I think the gold movements. Bringing the physical.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Bessent's a gold bug. Like, he loves gold.
Should we sell all our Bitcoin for gold?
No. I said in the end of my newsletter, I've never been happier to have my wealth in a peer-to-peer distributed cash system with a hard cap native currency that can't be controlled by anybody, because I think Bitcoin would play a part. But I think if we're being honest with ourselves, if there is going to be this global economic reordering, as Scott Bessent has been alluding to, that gold would play a part. Even here in the United States, our Treasury Secretary is a massive gold bull, longtime holder as well.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you retweeted Gainsey. I think that's my interpretation and alignment right now, which is, what was it? It was, we'll see how this plays out. LMFAO.
It's
and I'm able.
Let me find this.
I'm able to appreciate that because of Bitcoin, because of their safety and sats, and we can kind of watch it all unfold and see what happens, because my family's savings are in the hardest money of all time.
Yeah. Gainsey's tweet, the Virgin Tariff Warrior versus the Chad. We'll see what happens. Laugh my ass off.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
That's, and I also I think if you look at it objectively, this is strictly better for the working class and lower income folks. And the direction we were going was fucking horrible. So, big things need to happen in order to make big improvements. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, and on that note too, to validate what you just said about the working class, particularly here in America, Logan, pull up this tweet. I saw this earlier.
Oh, Seth, our favorite accountant, just zapped us 21,000 sats, 12 days to April 15th. Thanks for the reminder.
This is a conversation shared. Who knows how valid it is, but I could see these conversations happen. I was talking with the box supplier last week. He was telling me they're taking a 3% increase because of the tariffs on Canadian paperboard. Then he says, these tariffs are so crazy, they're starting the process of reopening the mothballed paper mills in Maine. You couldn't put two and two together. It was right there in front of him. So, if this anecdote is true, you have an immediate example of manufacturing coming back to the U.S. in response to this tariffs, which was good for the blue-collar workers in Maine.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around what Bretton Woods 2.0 looks like.
I don't know. I mean, Luke Roman's been talking about it a lot. Last time he was on TFTC, he basically said you get China, Russia, the U.S. at the table, and you do some sort of gold repricing of the native currencies and try to make.
Yeah, but wouldn't that hurt us?
Not if China is okay with us bringing manufacturing back home. I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, that's how Luke framed it. That's one analyst.
I think this happened in the mandibles.
Did it? It did.
Yeah, but
it did actually.
We sent all our gold to China. It's a horrible decision.
I don't think we're going to do that, but.
And then they tried to 6102 everyone's gold to get more gold.
Yeah. Crazy times. But like you said,
Spoiler alert, if for some reason you haven't read Mandibles yet. I think if you haven't read it yet, you're not going to, so that's fine.
shout out to Seth from Satoshi Pacholi. Gotta make sure I get the pronunciation. 21,000 zap. 12 days to April 15th. The accountant reminding us of tax day.
I already said that, bro.
Oh, you did?
But whatever. Give him 2 shout outs. God, I do like the mental burden of fucking taxes in general is just so predatory, so horrible. Just got to get rid of them all and just replace it with tariffs.
I think that's
even
it.
Seth, his job relies on it, would just be happy.
Yeah.
He's our accountant. Seth, you still owe me a K1.
I'll pay $5 more for a cotton shirt if it means I don't have to pay thousands of dollars for taxes every year.
I mean, so like the 5D chess or whatever is thinking about Bretton Woods 2.0 or whatever. But I think you've been on top of this for a while. Like a key thing here is trying to get rates down.
Yeah.
So that when we can get our debt burden in order. That much seems obvious.
Yeah.
I do wonder. Yeah, go on.
They've said this explicitly. Like Bassent's been like, my plan is 3-3-3. We need to get yields down. He went out on the media tour 2 weeks ago and said the American dream isn't let them eat flat screens. He came out yesterday and said the Mag 7 problem isn't a MAGA problem. Like as close to explicitly saying like we don't care about the stock
crash
markets. We care about getting yields down.
I do wonder. Like it is a little bit of a game of chicken, right? Like there's markets probably still don't think that they're going to full bore crash things. Like there could be a lot more pain out there.
No, I think that's going back to your point, the sort of KPI to look at to try to discern when they're going to like take their foot off the pedal of these economic distractions is the 10-year yield. Like how close to 3% can they get that before they're able to move? And then this is all, I would imagine, in an attempt to get the Fed to move to lower rates faster.
But in the 10 years at like 4% right now.
Yeah, it dropped like 15 or 17 bips overnight. And it's just hilarious how all the tariff
maybe even
experts
more than that.
and economic experts are out there like, this is going to ruin the economy. What is he doing? He doesn't have a plan. It's like, no, they've been very clear. This is their exact plan. And if I'm not saying I'm not equipped to determine whether or not it is the best plan.
Of course you're equipped to. We're tariff experts.
Yeah, yeah.
If anyone's equipped to figure this out, I think it's us.
But it's like people are screaming like they don't have a plan. They're ruining the economy. It's like this is their exact plan. They've been telling us for
no. And if you listen, if you listen to the Bassent and Letnick All In episodes, which was like 2 weeks ago, like they seem pretty plan heavy over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see what happens.
It's going to be fun. It's a great time to own Bitcoin. Sats are on sale right now. We're below 82,000.
That's the thing. It's like I try and think through all the scenarios and then I just come back to just stay humble, stack sats.
Yeah.
I got nothing. That's all I got. One trick pony.
There's never been a better time, a better risk adjusted time in Bitcoin's history to hold or get into Bitcoin for the first time. To think that all this is going on, a grand economic reordering is going on, and people are going to find value in a politically neutral, distributed.
Can we just call it a great reset?
It's the great reset. But this is funny. This is like the great reset I'm for. Bring American jobs back. Like, get away from the high velocity trash economy. Klaus Schwab, like 15-minute cities. Digital ID. Not to say that can't come under the Trump administration. We still have to be very vigilant on that.
Oh, the digital ID is definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
And so is the CBD, private bank digital currencies.
It's already here.
Those are both going to happen. Yeah.
Did you see the Irish professor or teacher Enoch Burke is his name.
No.
He's been on. I mean, if you've been following, look up.
Was he on TFTC?
He was not, but I did DM him. Said, hey, you should come on. Searched on X TFTC 21 ENOCH. But he was a teacher in Ireland, and he was one of the few that refused to recognize pronouns. He misgendered a 12-year-old, and I think he got kicked out of his school. And he's been adamant. The Irish government has been adamant about, like, we need you to publicly acknowledge the true gender.
Oh, I did see this.
They
like took all of his money, right?
They took 40,000 euros out of his bank account.
Yeah. Should have been holding sats.
Yeah. Crazy times.
They can just press a button and empty your bank account.
Yeah. That's what they did with him.
That's the thing, right? Because, I mean, if you talk to like the trader types, they're like, oh, you need to be in cash. You need to have like cash on the side. It's like, where are you going to put it? Like, I wouldn't want to have large amounts of cash in a bank account right now. That would scare the shit out of me.
That looked like a Chase interface too. Maybe it's not.
It did. Probably isn't, right? Do they have Chase over there?
JP Morgan Chase.
Of course they have Chase over there, right? That's just a ridiculous comment.
Yeah, they do. They do. They trace their roots in Ireland back to 1919. They're now one of the largest providers of custody and fund services in Ireland.
Well, there you go. Not a banking expert.
Yeah.
Just tariffs and gold.
They operate as JP Morgan Ireland over there.
Makes sense. That lines up.
Yeah. Crazy times. And it's got to be the funniest timeline ever too. It wouldn't be fun. We wouldn't be here week in and week out if the timeline wasn't hilarious. And this announcement from
it's definitely entertaining.
Yeah. The Trump brothers have launched a new Bitcoin mining venture
with the most on-brand name ever.
Is it American Bitcoin?
Did you see the name
America?
of this? Yeah,
American Bitcoin?
American Bitcoin. American Bitcoin, I think.
American
it's in
Bitcoin.
Partnership with HUD 8.
Which is a Canadian company. Which is funny. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, but American Bitcoin is an American company. You can tell by the name.
Yeah. So those who are unaware who haven't heard this yet, American Bitcoin, which is run by Eric and I believe Don Jr. Trump, entered into a joint venture with HUD 8. I believe the JV is like 80% HUD 8, 20% American Bitcoin. And
yeah, but
mining.
Then Eric Trump like kept trying to say that they were majority owners. In the same interview that they said HUD 8 was 80%. It didn't make any sense to me.
Maybe the majority owners of American Bitcoin, which is engaged in a JV with HUD 8. Maybe
yeah, just bullshit.
Yeah. It is hilarious to watch the Trump's journey into crypto and Bitcoin. It's like first they get into meme coins, which is like, all right, you're going to rip your face off. And then the next thing they get into is Bitcoin mining, which is notoriously the most competitive business on the planet. And it's like, good luck. I mean, HUD 8, love the people at HUD 8. They've done a pretty good job of navigating over the last few years. I think they're, I think they did a merger with US Bitcoin, funnily enough, a couple years back to get things on the right path, but still like the Trumps are
brutal
choosing,
business.
like the most brutal way to get into this market.
No, but they probably will have great terms and they want to rush to public, right? It's going to be publicly traded. So they're really just trying to dump on retail. But yeah, if they want to be miners long term, I think they're in for more hurt than they realize.
The ticker will be ABTC.
That's a great ticker.
That's a great ticker. Props are due. It's an incredible
Like,
ticker.
what's the asset value on the ticker alone?
Probably
like a $10 million ticker right there.
Probably more than the mining business enterprise value at some point.
I mean, the 12D chess move, right, is that all of this is just a distraction to load up their bags on cheap Bitcoin.
I mean, we know the meme coin, they were dumping like $10 million slugs on retail right after they launched it.
Yeah, that was all on chain. You can't do that with a stock. You have more privacy.
Yeah. Eric Trump, the executive vice president of the Trump Organization in Gnut, have about 100 of the same friends, said Trump, adding that the pair connected earlier this year after he and his brother Donald Trump Jr. announced a plan to launch a data center company called American Data Centers. Let's bring these things together, Gnut remembered thinking in reference to his Bitcoin mining facility and the Trump's new company. It's just natural synergies, you know?
I just want to shout out to the ride or die Bitcoin haters that join our live chat week after week to just try and shit on us and Bitcoin. Get a fucking life. Who does that with their life?
Where is this? What chat are you looking at?
It's just a general shout out.
Okay. Logan, what's happening what's going on in the YouTube chat?
It would be like us going into like, I don't know, fucking like ETH shows live chats and just constantly shitting on ETH. Like, I got better things to do. Silver bugs recap and just going on there and saying that silver makes no sense as a monetary asset.
Silver bugs recap.
But thank you for joining. Make sure you press the like and subscribe button if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Nostr, zap us. Please zap.
Bitcoinism, yeah. It's have fun, staying poor, I guess is what we can say. All right, back to the list. We got things to talk about. Larry Fink says Bitcoin could replace the dollar as a reserve currency in his annual investor letter. This is pretty substantial coming from Larry Fink. It's not like one of those things where you see it time and time again throughout the years where some analyst at
this one was
some
great.
firm like JP Morgan or Bank of America will write like a research paper internally that gets picked up and really doesn't get taken seriously internally, but all the Twitter accounts will pick it up. Bank of America says they should integrate Bitcoin payments. And it's like, no,
just some random low-level analyst.
Yeah. Here we have the annual letter from Larry Fink himself, which is, I think, much more high signal compared to those analyst letters.
I mean, what makes it really strong? So he just straight up was like, Bitcoin, our debt is so bad, Bitcoin can replace the dollar as the reserve asset of the world. And what makes it really strong is the next paragraph after he's like, and to be completely clear, I really, really hope this doesn't happen, which I just think makes it so much fucking stronger. He's not out here like, this is the dream I want to see come true. It's the exact opposite. It's just like a warning.
Yeah, I don't want this to happen, but it probably could.
Pretty crazy.
That's another timeline. That's another signal. Like Larry, like he's on the inside. I mean, we know for a fact that BlackRock was involved closely with the Fed during the 2020 sort of stimulus. BlackRock handled the corporate bond section of that stimulus, and so they're very tied at the hip with the Federal Reserve, and you would have to imagine the government's going back to grand economic reordering. Maybe Larry knows something. I'm just trying to send a signal out there. Great reset.
I mean, it's definitely mostly my bias because I usually think this about a lot of macro events, but it kind of just feels like they're trying to shake out all the Bitcoin holders. Just, shake us out right before the Great Reset.
Right before the super cycle. Just kidding. The super cycle's not happening.
You still think the super cycle's in play?
No, I already remember like a month ago I said it's over. It's over.
It's over.
It's over.
It's all done. Pack it up, freaks.
Yeah. You really jumped around the list. You put a lot of this. You front loaded a lot of this.
What?
The story is like you have Bitcoin versus gold now, but we already talked about that.
It was just Bitcoin versus gold. Bitcoin versus gold was the one that I jumped ahead because all the gold pumping has been grinding my gears.
Let them have their day. Let them have their day, you know.
Like what I think the number was, if you bought $10,000 worth of gold in 2011, you'd have $17,000 worth of gold today. It's like just to put the perspective there in orders of magnitude of gains.
You'd have what, like $1.7 billion if you bought Bitcoin at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a tongue in cheek because, 2011 was so early in Bitcoin's adoption cycle. We're not seeing that level of purchasing power appreciation today, but it just puts the gold, it puts the gold price in perspective, I think, pretty well.
Let them have their day. The gold bugs have been beating this drum for decades. They get a little pump.
Gold is a shitcoin. It's trending to zero. Fuck your day.
Yeah. There's asteroids that have gold on them. We can go. Did you see? We got Wang Chun. Wang Chun's up there looking for the asteroids of gold with him.
I didn't put that on the list. Shout out Wang Chun. That is awesm.
That is
Did you see he didn't see an ice wall in Antarctica? He thinks the world is actually round.
Is this a psyop? Is Wang Chun like part of the
They bought him out.
Space's real psyop?
Dude, you would need a lot of money to buy out Wang Chun.
I know. Well, that was like the coolest thing of like they have like the sort of infographic on the individual astronauts up there right now. He's officially an astronaut now, which is pretty cool. And it's like hometown, country representing Malta, and then like profession. It's like OG Bitcoiner is all it said.
Did he really? That's what he put as his profession?
Yeah.
So Wang Chun was a very, very early Bitcoiner, and he's the founder of F2 Pool, which is one of the largest Bitcoin mining pools. And he just has a very big reputation of just not giving a fuck. And since Bitcoin price has gone up so much, his main goal in life has been to travel to every country possible. And so he just took that to the next level because he's paid for a SpaceX flight. I guess it was him plus 2 other tourists.
Yes, I believe so.
And they all just paid for a flight and it went over the South Pole.
Well, they're still up there. It's a 5-day. It's a 5-day flight.
Yeah. So Wang Chun famously during the SegWit activation drama of 2017,
they trolled the world.
Really flexed his I don't give a fuck. He was like definitely trading markets and turning on activation and turning off activation and controlled a lot of hash rate. And then ultimately helped activate SegWit. Have I ever told my Wang Chun story on RHR?
I don't think so.
First time I ever met him?
No.
So it was like 3 years ago. I was teaching Bitcoin to activists, Bitcoin 101 to activists in Oslo for the Human Rights Foundation Freedom Forum. And it was like basic Bitcoin 101, install Blue Wallet, write down your seed, erase it, restore, send a Bitcoin transaction, receive a Bitcoin transaction. I was doing it with BTC sessions. A bunch of activists, all complete noobs, complete beginners. And there was this older Asian guy who was like speaking in broken English. And he asked so many questions. Like he was like, I can't do this, I can't do that, like all this shit. And then at the end, he turned to me, he's like, Matt Odell, Wang Chun, pleasure to meet you. Just trolling me the entire fucking time. And that was the trip where he got to go to Norway for the first time. He was doing his around the world. Fucking awesome.
That's a great in-person troll from Wang Chun. I
was honored. It was an honor and a privilege.
The BIP 91 trolling was, in retrospect, it's hilarious. But at the time, people were very pissed at F2 Pool. Yeah.
Oh, and then FTB is mentioning. So at one point, Luke Dasher was asking for public donations. I think this was before he lost his Bitcoin, before his Bitcoin was stolen. But he has more kids than he can fit on a school bus, and was asking for donations. And Wang Chun came out and sent him a Bitcoin. It had a 999 Bitcoin change transaction, and he mined it with his own mining pool, so it was a zero fee. What a fucking boss.
What a
Anyway,
buzz.
he's in space right now.
He's in space. Wang Chun, if you're watching live from space, we say hello. Hope you're enjoying it up there. On to the Human Rights Foundation story of the week, coming from Georgia, where officials freeze accounts of organizations supporting protesters. Georgian officials have frozen the bank accounts of 5 nonprofit organizations that provide financial and legal aid to dissenters. This comes in response to an uprising of protest over new controversial laws that restrict free expression and assembly, increase fines and detention periods, and expand law enforcement powers. Georgian officials justify the account freezes as part of an investigation into sabotage, yet they have provided no evidence. Amnesty International warns that this financial assault could kill the entire protest movement. Bitcoin provides a way to circumvent these struggles. Its uncensorable and permissionless nature has helped sustain pro-democracy movements across Belarus and Nigeria, proving it is capable of addressing the immense financial restrictions dictators impose. For more stories like this, make sure you sign up for the Financial Freedom Report at financialfreedomreport.org. Georgia.
Bitcoin is the answer.
Is Georgia a proxy Russian state now? Remember what we were in high school? When
I think it always
Russia,
has been.
Yeah. But didn't they like go in like 2008 or?
They're like ex-Soviet Union.
Yeah. A lot of nuclear power in Georgia. I believe there are some miners. I think there's significant hash rate in Georgia.
No, didn't they like all get fucking rugged? Or a
That was
bunch of them got rugged?
That was Kazakhstan.
I think it was Georgia as well.
Maybe.
Anyway, it's also a state, not to be confused with the state of Georgia.
Yeah, we're talking about Eastern Europe here. Eurasia probably more accurately describes it. I believe we have.
Yeah, borders Turkey and Russia. It's right in between the two.
Do you remember that when Russia went in and I think it was 2008.
Yeah, they did like the little green men, right?
Yeah.
When Putin realized that he could just take off the have everyone take their patches off and just be like, nah, they're not Russian.
All right. We've got some boosts to read from Rabbit Hole Recap 350. Bitcoin is the answer. At MBS at fountain.fm, 77,777 sats. Tariff this, tariff that. Who cares? No tariffs on Bitcoin freaks. Great day to stay humble and stack sats. It looks
Great
this
advice.
58 minutes ago. So that was right before we started. Yeah.
Got it in the wire.
Synchronicity. I mean, sending the same message as the freaks out there. John Gordon with 32,223 sats. Palindrome boost. Spring into Bitcoin with the Greater Austin Bitcoin community next Saturday, April 12th at Hippo Social Club to raise funds for ALS research and care in honor of the legendary Hal Finney. The all-day festivities include the kickoff of the 2025 Run for Hal World Tour with an uncommon trail run. We'll have live music, a butcher demo, and beef, kids activities, sauna, cold plunge, a Bitcoin marketplace, and speakers, including a BitAxe workshop. Go to austinbitcoinclub.com and get your tickets ASAP.
Did they say beef kids activities?
A butcher demo and beef, kids activities.
Ah,
Yeah.
I love the idea of beef kids activities.
A butcher demo of kids activities is not what I would want, but it's separated by commas.
Got it.
Shout out to you, John. John Gordon's a legend in the Austin Bitcoin
he's
community.
legit.
Pringle Mac, 22,222 sats across the board, twos across the board, Palindrome boost. Be the change you want to see in the world. We will win, freaks. Love Sil. You.
Appreciate you.
Do you know
Thanks for all the support, freaks.
Do you know the cultural reference of you?
No.
It's like when you catch a good wave and the other people watching the guy catch the wave go, you. It's like a sign of you're crushing it, bro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it because they're flying by you as they say it, or?
It's like that, and it's it's just a guttural sort of.
Got it.
You throw it out there, yeah, ride that wave, bro.
Nice.
Shout out to you, Sil. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for the boost. Thank you for the zaps and zap.stream. Thank you for joining in the YouTube comments. I know we make fun of you guys a lot, but you're here. You're watching. Hit that like button. Subscribe. A lot of good software updates this week. And you only have 3.
I was tired.
I'm tired too.
What are the good software updates that I missed?
It's not really a software update, but like, did you see Zeus saying they're going to
I'm
integrate?
glad I called you out.
Going to integrate Casio.
Yeah, Evan's pretending it's an April Fool's joke, but it's not.
Give me more context. I didn't see he was pretending it's an April Fool's joke.
He announced it on April Fool's, the worst day on the internet.
It was a terrible day on the internet. So is it? So it's not an April Fool's joke. They're implementing Casio.
No, you can check the repo. Like it's code has been written.
Yeah, it's cool to
I
see.
think that's going to be massive. I mean, it's not in a release yet, which is why I wouldn't put it in the software updates. But it is good to point out. I mean, this is the dream that I've had for a while, and Mutiny started the dream and then pivoted to Open Secret. But this idea of you start with Cashew, you start with whether that's Cashew or Fedimint, you start with some kind of eCash so that you have incredibly private, incredibly cheap, programmable offline transactions, very easy to onboard someone to. And then you gracefully move them to self-custody in the same wallet over time. And then ideally, and then at that point, they start basically with one jumbo lightning channel. And then when they get to more money, then you gracefully move them to self-custody on-chain, cold storage. And you bring them through that user journey in a very user-friendly way, ideally in one app. And Zeus is the powerhouse app on mobile. Like there's no second best. It doesn't even come close. So to have him implement Cashew into that seems really ideal. You get a Lightning address. So if you're using it for Zaps, you can immediately start receiving Zaps on Nostr as a new user. He's going to integrate like the point of sale experience that he has as well. So if you're a merchant, you can start off that way without having a channel, without having to pay for inbound liquidity. And then you can slowly upgrade over time as you have more Bitcoin. So I think this is absolutely massive. And I look forward to having it in a release.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think for the merchants specifically, that would be if you can nail the POS and just make it easy for a merchant to have the Zeus point of sale system, not have to worry about setting up an exchange account or setting up a Lightning node and creating the liquidity necessary to run it. Just being able to boom out of the box, receive eCash over the Lightning network would be massive.
Yeah. And there's already Cashew specific apps like Macadamia,
which is a nut.
Which is a nut. Oh, also, freaks. I accidentally said fake news last week. The macadamia nut is poisonous. The fruit isn't. And the way you get around the nut being poisonous is you have to either roast it or steam it to get the poisonous part off. And that's how it's processed before you eat it.
Or the nut? Or the macadamia?
The nut is like you have like a fruit with a nut on the top.
The cashew nut or the macadamia?
Cashews. There was fake news on cashews. I have no idea how macadamias are grown or if they're on a fruit or not. But with a cashew, you have like this fruit and then you have like the cashew nut on top.
Have you been watching White Lotus?
No.
Okay. Never mind then.
Did I say macadamia?
You did say macadamia when you started talking about
Logan
cashews.
immediately grabbed his mic and said,
God damn it, fake news again. Well, I meant cashews, but I think I might have last week said that the fruit was poisonous. The fruit is not poisonous. It's the nut that's poisonous, and you have to either roast it or steam it.
important news. Don't go eat raw cashews. You'll die.
BTC Pins is telling me the fruit is on the top, the nut is on the bottom. Well, now he's saying seed, but I just feel like that just makes it more complicated. That's just your perspective, man. Like, which side's the top, which side's the bottom? Like,
Are we going to have to talk about this every time we bring up the cashew protocol?
No, we don't. I do see someone in the Nostr live chat asking, what about Fediment? I seemed very excited about Fediment before I got excited about cashew. In general, I'm very excited about eCash. I think eCash is one of the Bitcoin-powered eCash is one of the most important developments we've seen in Bitcoin over the last few years. Now, the Fediment project is going to, and I addressed this on the most recent Cyril dispatch with Nifty. It's going, like, make or break is how difficult it is to actually run the Guardian servers, the Fediments. So at high level, like, if you look at the difference between Fediment and cashew, the main difference is one is like you can think of it like cashew is like a single segment, right? So you have this one custodian. And then with Fediment, it's a multi-segment. So you have a 3 of 5 or a 2 of 3 or something that's holding the funds, which obviously seems ideal because it mitigates rug risk, mitigates them stealing money from you. Now, that high level misses the fact that federated aspect of Fediment makes it much, much more complicated. Like, you need to have consensus among the guardians. It's a very complicated process.
Coordination issues are introduced.
Yeah. And being able to run those servers in a sovereign way, in a reliable, robust, sovereign way, has been a massive issue for the Fediment project. Now, I do have on the software updates that the Fediment team, the open source contributors that contribute to Fediment, have made massive improvements in terms of running those servers, and they're about to release a Start 9 package. So you can just have it on your Start 9 at home. It all runs through Tor. It doesn't require DNS. I believe it uses Nostr for authentication and communication.
Well, pull up the tweet.
That seems absolutely massive. Well, there was another one too that goes into more detail if you click that guy's name. But back to cashew. The reason I'm so excited about cashew is it's just had this organic, massive developer attention. And if I look back over the last 10 years, like, there's really only 3 projects that I've seen this bottom up organic viral developer attention, and that's Bitcoin, Nostr, and cashew. So that's why I'm incredibly excited about cashew. But because they don't have that federated aspect, they're able to iterate and move a lot quicker.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Permissionless, out of the box, spin up a cashew mint. Comes with much less coordination issues compared to Fediment. And that's not to say that Fediment will not solve those issues, but right now, as it stands, it seems inarguable that the ease of spin up with the cashew protocol is driving a lot of this attention and innovation. That, I think that's the most exciting thing about cashew, is just seeing all the applications that people are putting out there, and not only the applications, but the ability to easily implement them into Bitcoin wallets. We'll see how Zeus does it, but like you said, that is the dream. You have this sort of step function to self-custody as you accumulate more Bitcoin over time.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. Fediment. For those of you who didn't get the message of what it is on the list, Start 9 is going to make it very easy to spin up a Guardian coordinator on their operating system.
Click his username. What's his post before that?
I will read it. Fediment is coming to Start 9. We have found a way to remove the need for domain name registration and a public static IP with a new P2P networking library called IRO that can establish an encrypted direct connection between any 2 devices with an internet connection. This allows us to package a Fediment, Guardian, daemon for Start9 alongside the upcoming 0.7.0 release. We will therefore also ship a Start9 package that allows for testing on a Signet. Once IRO is stabilized, we will cut a new release, build a Start9 package for a mainnet deployment, and publish it to their community package registry.
Absolutely massive. So this was a product, I believe this was an innovation that came after the two main public fediments, Freedom One and Bitcoin Principles, had all of those DNS issues. It was just a complete fucking cluster. But, that is also why for a lot of these things, it's important to run things on mainnet in real life and see where the pain points are and where you need to fix, because up until that point, it wasn't really a priority.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Iron sharpens iron.
Yes, it does. It's funny, this last software update on the list, how controversial it was. The Misty Breez beta wasn't really controversial.
I think this is awesome. It's their wording. It's their wording calling Liquid self-custody.
Yeah, Matt Corallo had some bones to pick with Shinobi on this one.
Yeah, and Adam. Did you see Adam jump there? And he's like, no, it's self-custody.
I didn't see that.
Look, I think legally speaking, it's important for anyone who's involved in the Liquid project to not call it custodial. But ultimately, it is a similar trust model to any kind of federation, including Fediment. It's better because they have their HSM processes and it's a bigger quorum and it's been established for a while. It's probably more secure than something like Tron or ETH or Solana, which all pretend they're decentralized and self-custody as well. So you can see where the arguments come in. But I think this is a great development. I think so. Basically, what Misty Breez is the beta version of what I think will just become Breez Wallet. It has the same logo and interface and everything when you pop it open, just like Breez. But it's a mobile wallet, and the easiest way to think about it for those who are familiar with Moon Wallet is it's like Moon, but instead of everything at rest staying on chain, it's staying on Liquid, which is something we've talked about for a while. That Dario from Moon has been very resistant to switch to Liquid because he thinks it's custodial. But the beauty here is on Liquid, you have very cheap transactions and very fast confirmation times. So in a high fee environment, users will not get hit with massive fees, because with Moon, every transaction is really an on-chain transaction. They do swaps to pay and receive on Lightning. And in this, every transaction is really a Liquid transaction, but they do swaps to send and receive on Lightning. So it's an interesting trust balance, trust trade-off. It means it's really easy to run on mobile. And at rest, I think there's a decent argument to hold on Liquid instead of holding on Lightning and do like the Phoenix or Zeus model. So it's good to see another model out there. Test it out if you haven't. Just don't be reckless with it. It is a beta product. Don't put too much money in there.
Yeah, the wallet supports Bolt 11 and Bolt 12 invoices, LN URL pay, Lightning addresses, on-chain Bitcoin addresses, and even Matt Corallo's BIP 353 using DNS to fetch payment details for another user's wallet. Also supports offline payments based on mobile notifications in the phone's operating system. And I've said this many times in the past. Liquid probably launched too early. Timing is everything in this market. Liquid launched what, in like 2016, 2017?
Yeah, pre-SegWit.
Yeah. And I've said, like,
pre-Lightning.
If Liquid were to have launched post-2020, I think it would have had much more success out of the gate, but instead it's just been chugging along for the better part of a decade. And I will say that it seems like Liquid is beginning to gain adoption. Obviously, this Breez Misty wallet is an example.
Logan, you want to pull up mempool.space and click the Liquid button. So I see BTC Pins here. BTC Pins makes a good point. They are using Bolts Exchange, which is the same that Aqua is using, and Aqua has a similar model. Aqua Wallet is a similar model as this Misty Breez. Bolts Exchange, make sure you click the liquid button. There's too many transactions there.
Where liquid button?
It's on the top, I think.
You click down
It's a
the
drop
Bitcoin.
down.
Click down the Bitcoin.
Bolts
it's not
Exchange
there.
is
They took it off.
centralized. Oh, because it's just embarrassing. Try mempool.space/liquid. See if that, or liquid.space. That's hilarious. Yeah, look, nobody's using liquid. They just pulled it up and it's just empty. It's just, by the way, every block has to have one transaction in it. So those don't even count. Bolts is not great. The centralization on Bolts is not great. Bolts can't steal your money because it's doing atomic swaps. So you don't have that risk, but you do have the risk of them going down or blocking a transaction. There have been some cases recently that I saw in Stacker News of Bolts blocking transactions because they must be looking at a sanctions list or doing, I don't know if they're actively doing chain surveillance or if it's just a sanctions list, but they're flagging transactions and blocking things. So relying on a centralized swap provider is obviously not ideal. At the very least, it'd be good to see more competitors open up. But, ideally, you'd want some kind of protocol level way of handling this. And then BTC Pins is also asking, how is Breez different than other liquid swap wallets? Well, the main one is Aqua. And I would say Aqua is just not that reliable of a wallet. I just don't think it's a smooth UX, and I hope to see them improve. But it's good to see more competitors open up. I personally would not want to rely on Aqua Wallet day in and day out. But it's still very early in Aqua Wallet, and it's even earlier in Misty Breez, and they have time. And I think competition is the best thing in the world. I think capitalism is fantastic. I think it scales the best, and I want to see when multiple projects have to compete against each other, users usually benefit. So I will say on the liquid side, I don't know if it launched too early. They have found some basic level product market fit on security stuff. Look at on-chain Bitcoin, right? On-chain Bitcoin is, clearing pretty quickly. You're paying low fees to use on-chain Bitcoin. There's Lightning has obviously filled a role that I think Liquid wanted to fill. So that kind of hurt adoption pretty quickly. But we'll see. We'll see what happens LMFAO. But there is a thing here, though, by the way, and I've had Adam on Dispatch, and we've talked about it at length, is Tether. Liquid is still a blockchain. It doesn't solve the inherent blockchain scaling problem. If Liquid, their just blocks are empty. Their blocks happen to be empty. If Liquid got any type of usage, you would start to see a fee market develop on Liquid. And most people think the fees are actually paid to
miners,
the Federation members, right? It's if you're one of the signers for Liquid, obviously you're getting paid fees. No, they all just go to Blockstream, and no one has said shit because there's basically been no fees. But that's not an incentive compatible model. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, but in the short term, it makes sense to me to use it at the very least.
Yeah. Well, in the short term too, I think it makes sense for wallets like Misty Breez, Aqua, Bull Bitcoin leverages Liquid as well to build this infrastructure for.
Have you used a Bull Bitcoin mobile wallet?
I didn't use it myself, but Francis, last time I saw him in person, was walking me through it, showed me the pay join stuff, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. I have to test that out. I forgot that existed. I see BTC Pins is mentioning it as well.
Yeah. But I think it makes sense for all of these wallets to begin implementing it now. And as you mentioned, on-chain Bitcoin mempools are empty right now. They've cleared. So there's not a lot of demand for it now. But you can just imagine it where the on-chain mempool fills up and that pushes people to Lightning, eCash, Liquid. is another pressure release valve that sort of, it's all symbiotic too, due to the interoperability of all these protocols being built on Bitcoin. And I think building the infrastructure now and these pressure release valves is how I like to think of them. I think it will have benefits for scaling in the future, just using all options.
100%. More options are better.
And then if Liquid gets a lot of activity and the fee market goes up, I'll get my popcorn out and watch as the Federation members go to Blockstream and say, hey, we need a cut of this. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like Adam said, that if that happened, then they would start paying fees to other people.
It makes sense. I mean, that going back to incentive compatibility, I think you would ultimately have to if it developed activity of that level.
Yeah, it'd be a good problem to have. But it goes hand in hand. By the way,
imagine you had like a cabal of whatever the threshold for the M event is, just get together and say, like, we're just going to turn our HSMs off and bork this network.
Unless you pay us.
Yeah.
Because this whole thought process happened because, they could also increase the block size if they wanted to. And if you increase the block size, the burden's on the people that are running the nodes that aren't getting paid fees because Blockstream gets paid fees. So there's a whole dynamic there that we just haven't really seen because there hasn't been massive usage of it in any kind of way. But it'd be an interesting dynamic to see play out.
Yeah. God, it's so fun. Everybody's complaining about tariffs, worrying about the great
Just
reset.
enjoy it. Embrace the chaos. With chaos comes opportunity.
Yeah. It's, again, never been a better time to find safety in sats. It's chaotic. Perspective. Yes, the price is down from 106,000 to 81,000, but we were at 60,000 5 months ago. We're up at least 30%. So.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, the problem is that we were at 108 like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So people have anchored to that. If we were just like slow rolled from 60 to 82, probably nobody would be complaining.
No. All right. Anything else?
I got nothing. We have a call we got to jump on.
3 minutes.
Love you, freaks. Stay humble, stack sats.
Peace
Fuck
and
gold.
love. Whoa.